2026 Parks and Recreation Commission meeting to order. Melissa, can you call roll?
Chair Ono,
Here.
Vice Chair Buaya,
Here via Zoom, a little under the weather tonight. Sorry, guys. I'm here.
thank you, Kathy. Commissioner Bentz,
Here.
Commissioner Crampton, Commissioner Nazal Garib,
Here.
Commissioner Reed,
Here.
Commissioner Schmidt. Thank you so much.
All right, now we're going to go to Nate to read the public comment procedures. Nate, can you read those?
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, Commissioners. Information on participating on this meeting and providing public comment, including remotely by Zoom or telephone, is available on this meeting's agenda, which is online at isearchmonterey.gov. Remote commenters, you will be muted until it is your turn to speak, with a timer will be shown on the screen. If you are connected on Zoom, the timer is accurate with no delay. In the chamber, we ask attendees to please keep their phones and devices muted to prevent audio interference with tonight's meeting. Consistent with the First Amendment and the Brown Act, individuals have the right to speak at a public meeting, which includes the right to criticize or support city policies or actions. The city encourages your uninhibited and robust feedback on public issues affecting the city.
Thank you, Nate. So we'll move on to our first presentation. The introduction of the Parks and Recreation Director, Nicole Banks. This is not a project under CEQA Article 20, Section 15378, and under General Rule Article 5, Section 15061. Shannon?
So I think some of you may have met Nicole Banks. She is here. And this is her 2-week anniversary. Yes. So we are doing our best to get her acclimated to Monterey and California. She's from Newton, Massachusetts. I know she's got some things to say to all of you, but we're very excited for her to be here. She's been spending time with each of us individually and taking a tour of all of our facilities and trying to get a good grasp of Monterey. And the weather up until today has been pretty good. So she's been definitely enjoying her time here, and we are very happy to have her. And so I'm just going to pass this on to Nicole. I know she's got something for you.
Well, good evening, Commission members. I am very excited to be here tonight. I was introduced to the City Council.
Pardon the interruption, but I believe the microphone is muted.
Okay, I might have hit that by accident. So good evening, Commissioners. Nicole Banks, and I'm just joining the team as the Parks and Recreation Director. Just wanted to say tonight that at the last City Council meeting on Tuesday night, I was introduced there. Gave some overall information for our Parks and Recreation Department and what we hope to accomplish. But I'm very excited to be here. To say that I'm happy to be here in Monterey is really just an understatement. I can't express enough how excited I am. Tonight, I really want to recognize the team that works for the department. It's been a steep learning curve these past 2 weeks, and having such a positive and professional group of colleagues to help me get onboarded and acclimated has been really wonderful. And I think that we're so fortunate to have strong professionals within our department as well as throughout the whole city. So my experience has been great so far. To you as our commission members, and you're putting your time and efforts into our city, into the work of Parks and Recreation. I'd be happy to meet with any of you one-on-one and just, learn a little bit more about your interests, your background, goals and priorities that you may have as you participate here. And help guide and be the eyes and ears in our community for what our residents are looking for. So very excited to get to be a conduit and work with you on that. My background a little bit is in your packet, but I have been leading Parks and Recreation departments for over 20 years. on the East Coast. And so 10 years in New Hampshire and 12 years in Massachusetts, with 2 different communities in Massachusetts. Always have really relied on our Parks and Recreation Commission members to be involved, help our team really support the work we do, and kind of, knowing a little bit more behind the scenes, what some of our challenges can be from time to time. It's really great to get to work together on those opportunities to find solutions. So happy to be here and happy to answer any questions or if there's anything further this evening, but really just looking to get to know each of you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Commissioners? Look forward to getting to know you. Nate, can you are there anybody online or in person would like to make public comment?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Speakers need to be identified prior to public comment opening. If you are in the chambers and you'd like to speak on this item, which again is in regards to our new Parks and Recreation Director, please stand and line up. If you are unable, please raise your hand. If you are online and you would like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand feature or *9 if you've dialed in by phone.
None in the chamber, Nate.
None in the chambers?
Correct.
We have one public comment online. I will allow you to speak, and you have 3 minutes to speak on this item. Last four.
Good evening. Good
Please
evening.
go right in.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
go
Can
right
you
in.
hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, Lorna Moffett here. Lorna Moffett here. And Nicole, I want to welcome you. I've worked with the Parks Department for many years. In fact, I was very instrumental in making sure that they didn't continue spraying herbicides and pesticides all over Monterey parks, which was happening years ago. And the parks has been so good so far. I always am checking up to see if there's any poisons on the plants, and I don't see any. And I want to let everyone know that this weed phobia that people seem to have comes from Monsanto. Now, Roy Jackson was the inventor of Roundup, and he started the California Exotic Pest Plant Council, which then went to all the little parks and groups and lobbied in Washington. And finally, George Bush signed in 1991 the Invasive Species Act, and they began spraying all over the United States for fear and phobia of woodland grasses. So I look forward to working with you, Nicole, and telling you about my concerns and the concerns of the community, which is not being listened to by so many of our politicians and needs to be. So welcome.
Thank you for your public comment, and we have no other public comment on this item.
Thank you, Nate. With that, public comments on this item are closed. Moving on to the next presentation. This will be the review of the status of Parks and Recreation related neighborhood and community improvement program (NCIP) projects. This is not a project under CEQA Article 20, Section 15378, and under General Rule Article 5, Section 15061. Shannon?
So I'm actually going to hand this over to Reggie Paulding. He is our NCIP coordinator. He's going to give you an update on current projects.
Yes. Is this, yeah. Yes. Thank you guys for letting me speak here tonight. This will be the first of 2 presentations I'm going to give to the Parks Commission this evening. As Shannon said, I'm Reginald Paulding, Senior Engineer and NCIP Coordinator. So we have quite a few NCIP projects that directly and indirectly affects the parks throughout the city. As sure a lot of you are aware.
Hello?
Figure that out. Yeah.
I think you should be good now, Reggie. Go right ahead.
All right, thanks. No worries. So we have in Monterey, we have the 15 neighborhoods, and we have the 16 neighborhoods, including Ryan Ranch, and 15 representatives on the NCIP committee. To date, we have approximately 70 total projects in the portfolio. What I'd say roughly about 30 of those being somewhat parks or directly or indirectly parks related. So I'm going to go through, I think tonight I have a slideshow here that talks about 26 of those projects. So Nate, if you want to move on, go to the next slide. So I'm going to go in alphabetical order by neighborhood and talk about the various projects. So the first one is Casanova Oak Knoll Park improvements. This is a NCIP 2023 FY23 project. And this one is in progress. Total budget was $125,000. And we spent roughly $100,000 on the new fence that parallels the park. You can see in the photo on the right. And then we've also installed a new shade structure in that picnic area in the photo on the left. We've also installed a new park bench, and we have one last component to this project to complete it, which is to install a new food prep table in that picnic area. So we're working on that. Well, the Parks and Rec team, we're all working together, but this one is in progress. All right, Nat, go to the next one. Nate, sorry, next one. So here, this is one we recently completed in Deer Flats Park. I don't know how familiar you all are with this park here in the city, but Deer Flats Park, the benches were installed facing the street. It's my understanding that when that was done originally, this was a school bus stop area, and a lot more children in the neighborhood. Since then, there was a request put in also in that FY23 year to turn the benches around and have them face the field so they could be more, I guess, more usable, more purposeful. So that work was just completed last week. So this is recently completed. All right, next one. So then we have quite a few projects in Del Monte Beach. I'm sure you're all aware of the boardwalk in that community, and so Tice and his team, they're doing tons of work. We actually were able to get quite a bit of help from building maintenance crews who were originally furloughed back in October when the federal government shut down. So they came out and started working on the cables and installed a lot of split rail fencing, which you're going to see in a later photo. But in this one with boardwalk repair projects, this has kind of been an ongoing project in the neighborhood where we replace sections of boardwalk as necessary when they become unstable or start to show some rot. So, all right, go to the next one. This one here is a project to extend the boardwalk down to the beach. This section of boardwalk was destroyed in a winter storm. I'm not exactly sure what year that was, but this project has not been started and has a budget of $125,000. All right, next one. So this is an in progress project here. This native dune ecosystem restoration. So this is one where we try and plant native plants to hold the sand in place along some of the steeper slopes in Del Monte Beach. And this one has a budget of $35,000. Okay, next one. And then here, this is what I was talking about before with the building maintenance crews where they've been able to come out. They worked pretty solid for about 4 to 5 weeks, October, November, once the government opened back up, then they've been working kind of weekends and overtime hours to complete this project. So I believe we're nearly done. Just a few last touch-ups to go. All right, so next one. So here we had a project to install a bike rack in the parking lot at the end of the beach. We went back and forth, had a meeting with the neighborhood representatives at the location, and ultimately we could not agree on a location or a bike rack design. So this one has been recommended for closeout. All right, so next slide, please. And then here we have another boardwalk project to install some low-level lighting, kind of at ground level. This project has not been started, and it has an initial budget of $20,000. Okay, so next one. Laguna Grande. So we're moving now to Del Monte Grove, Laguna Grande neighborhood. This project was proposed in the 2024, so a year ago. In that group of projects, this one was to install some more outdoor exercise equipment that was focused towards kind of a senior population in the neighborhood, and that it would provide some kind of a little bit more than self-weight resistance, but no weights. It was just like, as you can see here, kind of using different pieces of equipment for range of motion and weight training. This one had, we've done some initial like identifying some sites and some equipment, but we have not gone further than that. Okay, next one, please. Here's one that's also, I guess, if not complete, near completion in the El Estero Park Center in the downtown neighborhood. This one was originally a cutoff project, so we could talk about what that means more later. But this one, it was to replace one of the oldest playground equipment setups in the city. And this work was started back on, I think, February 2nd or that week of the 2nd. So this is also relatively new. Next one, please. Here we have a project to upgrade the lights at Solicitor Ball Field. So the lights at the ball field are antiquated and beyond their useful lifespan. So as I understand it now, the lights, when they burn out, we can't replace them, and that sort of a thing. So this would be to completely replace the lighting. Right now, Shannon and her team have been working on getting some additional grant funding from other local community sources. And in addition with the NCIP funds, and right now we have funding in the $464,000, and I think we're working on awarding the contract, right? Bond documents. So yeah, this will be a big improvement when it gets done. Okay, next one, please. So another Jack's Park, downtown park project would be to replace the turf and install new irrigation at Jack's Park in that the softball field area. And again, Shannon and her team are working on getting some additional funding to go along with the NCIP funds. So this one is moving. Next one, please. And then we have a project to do some work at the large barbecue area, which is on the other side of Solicitor Ball Field. So right now, this area can seat approximately 200 people. And there's been, I guess, a long-term request for putting some shade over those tables. And we've done the permitting and planning for this are done. And I think we're also working on a contract, right? So this one's also in contracting. So next one, please. The Monterey Tennis Center. So back in the FY24 project cycle, the operators for the tennis center put in a project to convert 2 of the tennis courts, 1 and 2, permanently into 6 pickleball courts. So that project was funded at $55,000. But as we got deeper into the work, we realized we needed additional funds. So this one has been held up due to insufficient funding. All right, next one, please. Monterey Vista. All right, so now we're in a different neighborhood. This one is Via Paraiso Park basketball court. So we have a project to completely redo the basketball courts and increase them to make them a full-size high school dimensions with all new equipment, new fencing around the court, and we would replace or not replace, but reorient two benches as part of this project as well. And this project will be done in combination with expanding the half court up at Veterans Park. So this one is it was awarded by City Council back on January 20th, and we're in contract with the awarded contractor. So this one, we hope to get it done in time for summer and summer camp season. That's the goal. So have this done by June 1st. All right, next one, please. So we have quite a bit of funding up at Hilltop Park Center. This one has been split into two phases. So the $1 million here is for phase one. This was proposed in last cycle. And then you're going to see in my second presentation this evening that we also, on the committee, is recommending a second $1 million project to complete the work at Hilltop Park Center. I mean, and this includes a lot of deferred maintenance, new roof. We're looking at replacing or doing some significant work on the sewer lateral in the back of the building, new windows, new HVAC, new lighting. I think those are the big items. So yeah, we'll see how much we can get done with $2 million. So next one, please. Skyline. Okay, so here in Veterans Park, we've actually done quite a bit of work, and we have a little bit more to go. So this one, Veterans Park Bocce Ball Court. So this was redone in the fall, completed in November. And this is just adjacent to the basketball court, if you're familiar with the area. All right, next slide, please. And here, this one is, you can't really see it, but amongst the trees, there is the road to Veterans Drive that takes you up to the park. And we have a design that's been completed to install a bike path on the hillside of the road. And that work is pending. It's going to be combined with repaving of Veterans Drive. So that's kind of in the hopper and to be done in the future. So that one's one that'll be a big improvement. Next one, please. And here, as I was talking about before, the Veterans Park. So this here is it's like half of a half court. And this one, we have plans to expand it to make it a full half court. So this one will be a half court with all new equipment. So new backboard, rims, hoop, all of that, plus a completely redone asphalt surface with a new split rail fence. Okay, next one, please. And then here, what we have one in progress where I don't know if you've been past Veterans Park recently in the last week or so, you will have noticed that we have approximately half done with the new split rail fence on the Veterans Drive on that large field. So this was a project that was proposed by a Parks employee, the attendant at Veterans Park back in FY24. So we're moving forward on this and hope to, and again, this is one where the building maintenance crews are doing this on overtime and weekends. So they're helping us out with this project. Next one, please. I think we're getting close to the end. So Villa Del Monte, this park, it's we had an application in the FY23 round to install some benches and picnic tables kind of in one of these areas off. I think it's in the one that's at kind of the lower right corner of the photo. This has not quite been started yet, but it's, well, and we could talk about kind of where we are with the NCIP committee voting and ranking of projects to be defunded. So this one is in that grouping. So next slide, please. So window on the bay, again, some split rail fence and dune restoration work. So we've done, I want to say approximately, I don't know, maybe about $5,000 has been spent on this project to date, but there's still funding and work to be done. So it's in progress. Okay, next one, please. And I will let Tice talk about any and all the details on forest management and fuel reduction, but NCIP committee recommended to council this 1.8 million that you see here was awarded in two different groupings. The first one was the original $1 million. And then the second phase was another 800,000 about a year ago, last March or so, I think, due to the change in the NCIP committee schedule, where we went from reviewing projects in the spring, bringing those to city council with award or funding being available kind of in the, say November, December timeframe, the last couple of years, to where we've kind of flipped the schedule and calendar. And now we're looking at bringing the NCIP projects to city council in April, which would make funding available, say May-ish timeframe. Okay, so next one, please. Or is that the end? Oh, one more. Ryan Ranch, 8-court pickleball complex design. This one was awarded, recommended and awarded in FY23. This one is on the list of projects to defund and take the fund, reappropriate the funding to the general fund, and that's going to be coming up in the next couple of meetings with city council. So stay tuned for that. But this one has also not been started. Is there any more, Nate, or is that's it? All right. So I think that was 26, but I'm here and available for any questions that the committee might have, or commission, sorry.
I did have a question. The El Estero, I was a little confused. It said it is completed, the kids' playground, or it's...
Well, I think we're doing some finishing touches, as I understand this afternoon. I jumped the gun on with the complete, but I think the majority of the equipment is in place, and I understand we're doing some fence work and some landscaping, but yeah, it's nearly done.
Hi. How do we prioritize the projects?
Yes, this is always a tough question. So I try to do them in a couple different ways. I try and spread the love around the city. So I work on projects in all the neighborhoods. I also try and I pay attention to the rankings. So the top 10 I try and do as I can. For example, we also work as we can. So, I mean, if we have things like that require permitting, like we have projects in the coastal zone, for example, and has to go to coastal commission, takes more time. And as we have resources available, right? So, for example, we were able to take advantage of, the federal government shutdown. We were able to get, those building maintenance workers to do those types of projects. There's no easy, we don't have there's no ranking scheme. There's no way to, I've heard it all. I've heard everything from you should do the oldest projects first and don't do anything new until you finish the old ones. And if it's more complex than that. And right now, for lack of a better word, I do the best I can. I work with, the parks and rec staff, and we coordinate on a lot of the projects, and we take them as we can. When we have resources, like Tice has some, extra equipment at the yard. If there's something that comes up and it fits, we'll use it if it's on hand. So it's all of the above kind of a strategy.
And the
So the NCIP committee voted, I want to say January 28th, I believe was the date. And we're taking that recommendation from the NCIP committee to City Council. There's going to be a presentation coming up on February 17th, if my dates are right, where we're going to be, we'll present all of the recommendations from the NCIP committee, and there was a lot of lively discussion. A lot of public comment was provided. I'm assuming there'll be more on that February 17th meeting. Ultimately, the committee's preference was stated that they want to take funding from the FY27 budget over defunding existing projects, but it's going to be the City Council's decision. Yes, you're welcome.
I guess I don't know if it really matters because it's voted for defunding, but just was the pickleball court, was that in the construction laydown area next to the disc golf course?
The location, I don't know if we had a specific, it was near, yes, as my memory is, it was near that disc golf area, but I think it was, I don't know exactly where.
Nebulous wherever.
Oh,
It's actually as you enter Ryan Ranch disc golf or area, the parking lot, it's immediately to the right.
Okay, yeah.
And along that fence line, which has already been identified as disturbed and so and fairly level, would need a lot much more work to,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
or
okay.
environmental work because it's already been.
And for Tice, do you have a list for the fuel management? Is there a fire defense plan, or where do you get that? Or you go off the CWPP? Like, where do you get what fuel management you do?
So kind of how are we prioritizing our work? Yeah. So, well, kind of the same people you work with, Jen Valdez and Justin Cooper in our fire department. We kind of compare notes, so to speak, with them. Just these are the areas we're seeing as needing the worst. NCIP money, we always want to make sure we have enough money so we can at least hit all the weed eating that we need to do in the spring and summer. So that's obviously number one. At the minimum, we want to do, make sure that's done. But yeah, for project areas where we want to do a little bit more, where we can get the down debris and brush, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, those is where we're making sure our notes are similar. We're seeing the same thing that our fire department's seeing. Yeah.
Makes sense. Any other comments?
I had a question about Hilltop, but I believe it's later on the agenda, correct? There's more.
We do have a
details
second
about-
presentation to talk about the projects that we're going to bring to City Council in April from this past round of projects. Yeah, Hilltop we have it in both. Like I said, we have Hilltop existing project, and we have a new Hilltop project. Phase 2. Yeah, they're the same.
Perfect.
They're tied together.
I'll hold off till then.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So sorry, the seismic retrofitting, is that in this one, or would that be phase 2?
Yes, it's all, I mean, they're all part of, so the funding is, I mean, let's just say we can't do the project without the 2 million. It's a $2 million project.
Together.
It's a $2 million project.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right, Nate, can you open this up to public comment?
If you are in the council chambers and you'd like to make a public comment on this presentation, please identify yourself. If you are online and would like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand feature or *9 if you've dialed in by phone.
There's none in the chamber, Nate.
Thank you, Melissa. And online, we have one public comment, last 3 of 705. Please go ahead and make your public comment.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, I have Lorna Moffett here, and I wanted to ask you, when you're building things, not to use wood. I've noticed these fences are using very old trees, and that means they have to be cut down in a forest and made into fences. And there was a time when the Parks Department was using plastic lumber, which is so important because it's made from plastic bags and bottles, and it lasts, very long time, and it keeps plastics out of the environment because it's being used as benches that last for, I don't know how long, but years and years. And I just noticed at the wharf now, there's some new benches that have replaced the plastic ones, and they're made of wood. And I'm thinking, my God, we're the #1 user of timber in Brazil, and we're cutting down our own forest like crazy. We can't have this kind of extravagance. We really have to understand that the trees are what create rainfall, and especially along coastal areas. And so I'm asking the Parks Department to go back to using the plastic lumber that you were doing so valiantly at one time, and stay away from wood products as much as you can. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. We have no other public comment on this item.
All right, with that, we're going to close the public comment section and move on to the next presentation, which is the presentation of the status of Parks and Recreation Department operations for December 2025 through January 2026. This is not a project under CEQA Article 20, Section 15378, and under General Rule Article 5, Section 15061. Shannon?
I'm actually going to pass this right on to Ty.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. You can see our staff there getting ready for Christmas. That was good. Just Monday, we had a Laguna Grande Joint Powers Authority meeting at City of Seaside Chambers. Wasn't a whole lot to report on other than we are going to have an event in April, a JPA 50th anniversary. So keep that on your watch list. So it'll be mostly on the Seaside side, but I'm sure we'll be participating in some way. So we're still working out the details there, but I'm sure we're going to do some events with bird watching, park cleanup, what have you. Also, Seaside was able to kind of announce that it was this grant that they got to do work on their side is really finally come to fruition, and they are getting ready to do work on their side regarding the trail maintenance plan. So they're doing some training with their staff, getting all their ducks in a row with the biological surveys that they have to do, and going to start their work. On our side, in December, we were lucky enough to kind of get ahead of the bad weather. And in December, we were able to get a biological survey and do a lot of veg clearing, impacting our residents. So right behind Laguna Grande Court, in the right-of-way between English Avenue. So we were able to pull out a lot of debris. Luckily, there was a lot of area that we intended to clear, but there is a lot of willow habitat that the biologists deemed sensitive, and we couldn't really touch that. So we obviously honored that survey, but nevertheless pulled out a lot of invasive species, created a nice buffer from between our residents and that vegetation behind their homes. So next slide, please. There's all those fun statistics that you guys get to see every year or every meeting. Plants, gophers, seals that we had to get rid of. So yeah, it was a lot going on as usual. A lot of still the VIPs and Green Cadre we worked with us during that time. Even with the irrigation off, had plenty of irrigation line repairs to fix. And then as I was mentioning just before the meeting started to the chair is we had a PG&E first responder training for all parks forestry staff in conjunction with a lot of our public works, which was very beneficial because just a week or two later we had got hit pretty hard with our storms. So next slide, please. Some of the projects that we did in the last couple months. If you haven't seen it, we did a little landscaping project with Cali at the end of Cali P there. They did some reorganizing of the road, and so it created an island there around the large olive tree. And so we had a little bit of fun putting in a nice new landscaping in there, kind of minimally, and we were able to get some irrigation to it. So that'll hopefully mature nicely. Laguna Grande Court. Hopefully if obviously it's not a lot of people know about the little pocket park that's there at Laguna Grande Court, but it was not looking so hot in the last few years. So luckily our staff led by Jose Ayala, who's one of our senior park maintenance workers, is helping kind of rejuvenate that park area with some new fresh grass, a new added sidewalk area, some trees in that park. So that should look really nice. And the Dennis the Menace, we've been adding a lot of plant material, painting odds and ends in there, making that look nice. And then, yeah, what was that? Retaining wall. Yep, Veterans Park around the tot lot. Hilltop Park, we got completely flooded out, unfortunately. The tot lot, we had a drainage that just failed. So we were able to kind of get a temporary fix in there, let it drain, I mean, just in time for some parties that were there, but we will have to go down to another section of the tot lot where the pipe actually failed. We're going to have to dig that out and put a new section of drain line. So hopefully that'll take place here in the next few weeks. Always we're constantly working with, it seems like, with the lake situation. The airification system failed us last spring or summer. We got it back online. We still have some parts that need some work, so we're working with a contracting diving team to help us get those parts fixed. And then obviously we had to take down all those beautiful, wonderful holiday decorations in January too. So next slide, please. We had the honor, I guess, definitely an honor of being awarded, given an award for being a good partner with the Green Cadre. I'm not sure we were worthy of this award, but it was still really nice to get it. We're the beneficiaries of their hard work, of all their quote unquote volunteer hours. So I'm not sure we're really, again, I'm not really feel like we're worthy of this award because they're the ones doing all the heavy lifting. But nevertheless, it was a really great event. They really did a great job. It was very inspiring because there was tons of people being honored. It was mostly folks who have really worked really hard to improve their situation. Folks who fell on hard times, picked up jobs where they could, took advantage of the Monterey County Works program. And there was a lot of, or let me say this, there were not very many dry eyes in this room. It was really, really something. That was not what I was expected. I was going there in for a free lunch, maybe a handshake, and everybody came out just blown away about how these young adults are trying everything they can to better themselves. And it's unbelievable. I have just this newfound respect for what this organization does. So if you can take some time to Google Monterey County Works program, it's even more amazing than I ever knew. So yeah, thank you. And then forestry, a couple big things. Obviously, the winter storms, like we said, we had a lot going on over the holiday break. We had about 17 trees down, not necessarily all city owned. A lot of them were private too, but we did have multiple power outages. We had seven road closures. So yeah, I just want to give a big shout out to our crew because these are folks that were working on the holidays and kind of taking time away from their families to be the disaster responders that we're all signed up to be as city workers. So really, really proud of them, being very selfless during this time. So, and then on the other side here, or the other big news here is at the very last bit is City Council just approved us being awarded $950,000 grant from CAL FIRE again. So we're still working through the first one, and we signed up or applied for a second one, and we were awarded. And I think that's because we work with a liaison through CAL FIRE, and they check our work, and so I think they're seeing that their money is not being wasted on us. So we were lucky enough to get approved again, and so that'll continue this extra funding that we can do, so we can do more in-depth fuel reduction work, also while using the NCIP money funds as our NCIP money as our matching funds. So we just can make our residents' money go that much further. So we're pretty proud of that. Yeah. And lastly, the tree ordinance. I believe lastly, we're still getting closer, I think. we're kind of at moving at a snail pace now, but for a while we were moving really quickly. But we do have a draft. We're putting some touches on it, kind of doing some more internal review, and hopefully we'll be able to bring that to council soon for the first draft, and then some sort of environmental review or impact report alongside that coinciding with it. So, yep.
Moving on to recreation. We were recognized as a family favorites again for 2026 for a variety of categories. So you'll see more information about that coming shortly. We'll go ahead and get started. So the first event that we had was our Donuts with Santa photo op, Nate. So this was our second annual event, Saturday, December 6th at Fire Station 13. We estimated about 600 people in attendance total, about 150 appointments for family photos, 35 dozen donuts that we went through. It's a great event. It's very low key, lots of fun. It's free. People get, I would say, a better than mall quality photo with Santa for free. And it's all very easy for people to get there, get an appointment, walk from where they live. It's a great partnership that we have with the fire department that lets us use Fire Station 13. Monterey PD is there with their hot cocoa bar. My museum is there as well. Next year, we hope to expand it a little bit more with a couple of little things, but and really not change this event very much at all. And we have a date set for Saturday, December 5th. Next event, next program is our field sports. We finished soccer and immediately went right into Pee Wee and youth flag football running December and January. 160 participants, 20 teams. Games are usually on Saturdays, but there's practices during the week. Right now, we are gearing up for our spring youth track and field program in March and April. That runs 4 days a week at MPC, and then also setting up for our summer camp prep. The next program is our adult field sports program. So as soon as we finish softball and baseball for adults, we roll into Adult Ultimate Frisbee League. It's bigger this year than it has been in the past, but it's a short season and not quite as many teams. It's something we're still developing. So it's 90 participants this time and 5 teams. And then we had a champion crowned, which was 17 Mile Dump was the name that they picked. So we're just kind of, within reason, we let them pick their team names. And then gearing up right now for Spring Adult Softball League. It is typically a little bit of a smaller group of teams for this fall, for spring. And that's because we are also trying to utilize the fields around Monterey High School and Pony. So we typically end up only having like a Saturday, Sunday league because of all those other uses of our fields. Moving on to our field sports facilities. Again, there continues to be a high demand for city outdoor sports programs and facilities. Right now, we're in the process of reviewing the Monterey Amberjacks Summer 25 and their proposal for Summer 26. And then we hope to get back to them regarding that. And it's also gearing up for and just trying to set the schedule and manage a bunch of different teams and uses of city fields. So right now, Monterey High School is using Solicito for boys baseball, Jacks for girls varsity and JV softball, and they just added beach volleyball as a sport. So they're at our volleyball courts down on Window on the Bay. Pony is, of course, using Jacks, Aldretti, and Ferrante. MPC and Hartnell are also utilizing our beach volleyball courts. So moving on to the next slide. We're going to be on Elistero Park Center next. Nate, so maybe the internet has gone down, so I'll just go ahead and get started. Elistero Park Center, we just started offering new Lego workshops in January. So those are our new program that we brought out. And then we have also very strong enrollment in preschool, Monday morning stories, dance. Our Lego workshops are also already very popular. And then Kids Create program. Our gymnastics program is running 4 days per week, and it's got multiple sessions with wait lists. We also have fencing running 2 days a week with full enrollment and wait lists. We have been continuing to offer sourdough baking for adults, and those programs are full with wait lists. We usually have quite a few people trying to get in to that program. Right now, staff is working on the monthly paint parties, adding those, kids in the kitchen, a spring kids night out program. Preschool's been very busy. We have been trying to keep them as entertained and busy as possible. We have the window to the outdoor area is covered, so they cannot see what is coming for them. So there's going to be a very low-key unveiling on Tuesday morning. We're going to have all the preschool students there and hopefully their families, and they'll get to see their new preschool playground space. Hopefully it'll be a big surprise, and they weren't peeking around the corner. So we're really excited and we're happy about that, because that was the oldest piece of play equipment left in the city, probably about 35 years old. And it was on top of a former swimming pool. So we got to see all of that. And it's going to be great. And Parks is doing a great job as well as helping us get that updated. So moving on to our next, we're having a little technical difficulty with our slides. Hilltop Park Center, we are full as usual with our ceramics class for adults that's offered 4 nights a week with a wait list. Our enrollment in our Pilates for bone health, dance, and piano programs are also very high, if not almost full. We are now offering monthly blood drives with Vitalent and American Red Cross, actually more than monthly, because there's just such a need. And as you can see in that photo, Vitalent usually it just comes in with their own kind of setup, and they have the ability to use indoor space or their mobile unit, and it's a great location for them. We hope to shortly be opening some youth ceramics workshops, bringing those back to the center. And then we're working on a preschool community helpers day, which is kind of like a field trip for both Elistero and Hilltop to get together. We usually have Monterey Fire there, AMR, maybe a dentist, maybe the bookmobile, and kind of the community helpers, and not necessarily a career day, but something for them to learn. We're also getting ready for our spring break program, which is the last 2 weeks, last 2 weeks of March, first week of April. Getting ready also for Tiny Tot Summer Camp, Imagine Dance Camp, and a new program we're doing with STEAM and robotics at 831. That's the name of the company. We'll be doing a camps there as well with us. Yeah. So Schulte is busy as ever. We've got 814 participants in a variety of programs, as you can see above. What I like to see is Tuesdays is bridge, and there's usually like 16 plus people playing bridge. I can't play bridge, but I love to see them playing bridge. We also have our Meals on Wheels served every day, Monday through Friday. On Monday mornings, they can come and pick up a fresh bag of produce in partnership with the Monterey County Food Bank. We have a variety of also just social programs. There's a senior luncheon. We did a tree trimming party. We have socials. In fact, today was a social, which we'll have a photo of next week, next meeting with Gateway and Hope Services. So for them, we kind of provide them with a lunch, some dancing, some sort of other activity. So lots going on. And then we have a Play Monterey trip, which we're excited about because our trips have kind of been slow and coming back post-COVID. I think it's kind of a combination of like the economy and just where people are. But we will be going to the Legion of Honor in February. So we're excited for that. We've got 2 more trips on the line coming up. One is to Cambria, and hopefully we'll see that one go, but not a guarantee. And then we're just planning for more events and programs in the spring in partnership with a lot of our Alliance on Aging and other community partners. And then for us, what's next? Extensive community outreach efforts for summer 2026 recruitment and also camp marketing. Misty was just at, I believe, Marina High School this week to help get the word out about our summer camp recruitments where, we always need staff. We want returning staff, but we're always constantly hiring when it comes to summer. And then again, we've got a full slate of programs that we also have to make sure we kind of market. We've got parents asking us for summer camp registration. I had parents asking me for summer camp registration back in September. And I was like, please no, not yet. But I already feel like summer is already here. We are full steam ahead. These are just a highlight of some of the programs that we are doing in addition to all of the locations we are at, CSUMB Career Fair, MPC Career Fair, all of the high schools we go to multiple times. But these are a few of the big things we're doing. So we're going to be at the Kids Hero Run, and we're going to do in partnership with the Monterey Firefighters Community Foundation on March 7th at San Carlos Beach Park. Our Bunny Hop photo op and extra fun is March 28th. So that ideally will be on Colton Hall lawn, and the bunny will be in here with photos. So and you're all invited to drop by. We'll be with Parks dropping in for their cutting day on the 21st. It's also Summer Camp Expo at Del Monte Mall. So we're going to go do that on March 21st. We have our Fun in the Park event that we do semi-annually at Montecito Park on May 7th. And then a Spring into Parks event that we're still kind of trying to plan for Colton Hall Lawn in partnership with the Monterey Bay Parent Magazine. So what they're going to do is they're slowly going to put something out in their magazine encouraging people to play and visit a park, in particular visit a Monterey park. Not anything happening at those parks, just an opportunity for people to go and visit a park that maybe they haven't been to before. And then it culminates in an event on May 17th on Colton Hall Lawn, where they can kind of turn in their passport to all of these parks and be eligible for prizes or different things. So we'll have a fun event that day. So lots of things happening. We are full of activities, and our staff are trying to figure out who's going to go where and who's going to do what. We're also right in the middle of budget preparation. We're reviewing our program offerings, figuring out what we can do based on capacity and budget, having discussions about what is essential, what is something that is a need versus a want. Again, what is their true demand for services? We are headed into some challenging budget times in terms of closing. The city needs to close a budget gap of $10 million. So we are probably going to be holding the line in terms of expenditures, except we really can't hold the line in terms of part-time salaries because we can't operate without part-time staff. So that's the challenge. But just in general, pulling together that budget and presenting that to City Council and all of those things are things that we're going to be working on. And it's a very busy time of year getting ready for summer, but also trying to get together with our budget. So, yeah. And I think that's it. I'll pass that on to Bill.
Good evening. Let me introduce you to Bailey, who's the wonderful little person up there on the screen. Bailey is one of our 2 interns that we currently have from CSUMB. So Bailey and Wilmore are part of the kinesiology program at California State University, Monterey Bay. And they're coming over as interns to help us in the fitness department. They're going to allow us to do some member services such as assessments and evaluations and some fitness classes for youth that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do. So they're really a welcome addition. We've had a really good relationship with CSUMB and the kinesiology department in particular in terms of creating opportunities for these younger people to come in and get some hands-on experience in the profession. And one of the things that we've been able to do now is we're actually working closely with the staff there on creating a partnership for a grant application that essentially would provide a online degree in kinesiology that would be available to working parents, to families, to individuals that struggle to get onto the campus. So it's really kind of a cool opportunity, and we're looking forward to it. Philip Giannino is also someone that works for us, but as part of his internship at CSUMB was able to work on developing a research project which looked at the potential of developing the sports center's rental and special event components, essentially bringing back what we used to have there pre-pandemic, but potentially expanding it. So Philip spent a lot of time connecting with other agencies and other cities that have community centers, looking at their models and looking at some proposals for what would potentially work. So we see that as a really solid potential source of external revenue that could help us meet some of our cost recovery goals. So I want to commend Philip for his work on his team. It was excellent. So good job, Philip. Next slide, please. Oh, and on that first slide, we are busy. We are hitting record numbers in memberships. We're hitting record numbers of drop-ins. From what John told me, John Dreisbeck at today's staff meeting, is in the month of January alone, we had over 57,000 visits that came into the building. So, close to 2,000 people a day. And when you come down there, you'll see it. If you're trying to take a spinning class, you'll see it. You go into the concourse at any given time, every single treadmill is being used just all day long. So it's just been a really good business time for us, but it also puts a lot of challenges on the staff in order to try to resolve challenges between guests and keep the younger people kind of in line with expectations, but they're doing a fabulous job of that. Okay, next slide, Nate. Some of the newer classes that we've put in, or some of the newer items at the Sports Center. So Lauria Tate has added some new classes in terms of kettlebell, yoga core, and Pilates. We're close to 100 classes a week now, which is by far and away above anything else on the peninsula. Pre-pandemic, I think we were close to 120 classes a week. So we're reaching essentially our capacity in terms of the number of classes that we're able to offer with the space that we have available. But Laurie has done a really good job, not only in terms of developing those programs, but also in terms of evaluating new opportunities, new class formatting, and creating, I think, not just a program that is popular and really well received by the community, but also creating a program that really is accessible for all ages and all abilities. So again, really kudos to Lori for the work that she's done in terms of expanding that group exercise program. We were able to get new scoreboards installed in the gymnasium. If you've been there for some of the youth basketball games, the scoreboards haven't worked for quite a while. And so we finally were able to get those into the budget this year and get those replaced. So we have new scoreboards that we'll be using as our basketball leagues move forward. One of the things that we're looking to try to move to next is trying to replace the backboards. So the backboards that we have in the gymnasium are all originally installed back in 1991 when we got ready to open the facility. And most of the motors no longer work on them, so we can't raise them anymore. We have pieces that fall out of them, so structurally we've had to re-weld sections of those backboards, so they're just really overdue for replacement. So that's really one of our next targets in the gymnasium, to get that up to speed. And then we did add another weight machine, very popular machine. It's called the new true inner outer thigh machine. That's something that's been in demand for some time. The one that we had was pretty not very comfortable to use. And so we have a new version in there that people are really receiving fairly well. And we're just about complete with all of our purchases in terms of equipment for the year. Next slide, Nate. This is a kind of an interesting program. There was a time where when the Kid Zone had closed and post-pandemic, we were struggling to try to get it open. One of the things that the previous sports center manager did was put a ping pong table into the old Kid Zone and let the kids go in there and play ping pong. And it was utilized. And when we converted that room over to the indoor cycling studio that it is, there was some real question about, would we still have ping pong accessible? Ryan found it very difficult to program availability of ping pong in the gymnasium because of the growth of all of our sports programs in the gym. So we struggled with how to kind of accommodate that need. And what we've come up with is now we routinely have a ping pong table available in the concourse just outside the pool entrance doors, and it gets used all day long, gets used by seniors in the morning, gets used by families with their kids waiting for their swim lesson, gets used by the teenagers when they come in after school. And so having it out there and accessible and really available for them to use, and for us to be able to supervise the use to prolong the lifespan of those ping pong tables, because they can get abused, has been very popular. But we've also been working with a volunteer and some of our guests in terms of making more opportunities for the ping pong tables to be used up in Studio 2. So when we moved the cycling program down to the current indoor cycling studio, that gave us access back to Studio 2, which had been the cycling studio for some time. That allowed us to move a lot of our bone builders classes, yoga classes, a lot of our senior balance classes up to Studio 2. It allowed us to move our martial arts program back up to Studio 2, but it also allowed us to provide opportunities for the folks that like to play table tennis, ping pong, to go up there and utilize that space during times when we didn't have classes programmed in there. The other day, Ryan said we had 5 tables in use in Studio 2 with 18 people playing all at the same time. That program has really expanded. We have about 60 to 70 active ping pong players at any given time, and they play throughout the day. So that essentially is, again, a credit to Ryan Nunez, our sports coordinator, for trying to think outside the box, working with Lauria Tade in terms of trying to make something available. We now have ping pong instruction. We have ping pong tournaments. We have just revitalized that particular sport. Ryan's been doing that throughout the gymnasium with the futsal programs and badminton programs, and just everything that he's developed with the men's and women's basketball leagues, the youth basketball leagues, the futsal youth and adult programs. So really, it's a credit to Ryan. It's a credit to Lori to working together to find an opportunity to make this available. So those programs are all going really well. And again, just a really strong credit to the staff that we have at the Sports Center. Next page, please. So under Lori's watch and working with Marcia DiMercurio, she's kind of her right-hand person that helps run the personal training and helps Lori with the group exercise program, and she fills in for Lori when Lori is away. We've really developed and expanded the personal training packages. It's more popular than ever, which is a challenging time because people feel it in their budgets, and having expendable resources to spend on something like personal training can be challenging when you're trying to make your budget work, and yet people are still committed to taking advantage of that. They love the staff that we've developed. A lot of them are CSUMB graduates or affiliated with the program at CSUMB, but we have a really excellent staff, and the essentially interest in personal training has really expanded. We talked about the group exercise and just the number of people that participate there. And then some of the classes that have been really popular include the Pilates mat, the restorative stretch, Zumba, bone builders, and the strength and bone builder balance classes. These are all programs that are really directed towards seniors. One of the participants regularly in the bone builder class is 92. And she goes there for the balance. She goes there for the structural strength. She goes there to socially connect with the other participants in the room. It's the only social connection she gets during the day. So these are classes that are, fundamentally necessary in terms of need for the community, but also just so important that represents the diversity of what we offer. You don't see a lot of this in the private sector. You only see this in a public agency. So again, kudos to Lori and Marcia for developing that. Next slide, please. Community engagement, just like what Shannon said, we're always trying to reach out to the community and be involved. And one of the things that Lori Tate, her name keeps coming up here. She's doing a lot of work for us. She is putting together the wellness fairs. We had the series we did last year with Montage Health. She then put together a wellness series for this year. We brought in Ohana. We brought in Montage Health. We brought in Monterey Recreation, the Public Library, Bookmobile, Fleet Feet, Skin and Body Method, and POTA foundations for participation. And these were different resources and groups that wanted to have an opportunity to connect with the community with different perspectives. And they were really well received by the folks we had. We had a couple hundred people attend. One of the things that was really cool is the Monterey Public Library has been working with us on installing the book lockers that are just adjacent to the entrance to the sports center. So they were there to really explain those book lockers and explain how to use them and connect with our members and our guests on what the value of having that book locker there is. So you think about all the parents that come in with their young children for swim lessons, bringing in their children for the basketball leagues, all of the seniors that come there, where they may not necessarily have the opportunity to also go down to the library on a regular basis. What they can do is simply order a book from the library. Library comes over, drops it off, puts it in the book locker, and they pick it up when they go to use the sports center. And then they drop it off there when they're done with the library, and it gets checked back in. So Esme, she's one of our former employees, operates that bookmobile. So Esme is able to come in, restock it on a daily basis, keep that service going. But also what this allowed them to do is really engage with the community about the partnership between the library and the sports center and recreation, and that service that we're able to continue to provide for the community. So it was really, really well received. Next slide, please. Aquatics, again, continues to be really busy with group swim lessons and just the number of participants. We did a number of lane reservations. We've been working with the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, Monterey Bay Aquarium, Hopkins Diving Training, and the Monterey Bay Scuba. Again, just providing access to different groups who otherwise would not be able to have that access. So Tony Graffinino is our aquatics coordinator. He's done a really good job coordinating all of this, and we now will be entertaining the Special Olympics coming up here in a couple of weeks. It's really a cool program. So we provide service to a couple hundred participants that are involved with the Special Olympics, and they come into the pool and they train and they have coaches, and the coaches are volunteers that come over from DLI. So DLI has a volunteer expectation on their military personnel, and they come down in big numbers and help us run that program and make it available to the Special Olympics participants. So it's a really cool program. So again, I checked the where we were in terms of our participation numbers and revenue just prior to the meeting. And we're well ahead of target on sports. We're well ahead of target on fitness. We're well ahead of target on aquatics. We're well ahead of target on pretty much every metric you look at. So I think you can say the first 6 months of the year have been really successful, which really helps us when we go into the budget planning. And I'm projecting that next year we'll continue to see that growth and continue to see the success of the sports center where we were just out of the pandemic and where we are today. So I think all of this spells really well for the service that we provide to the community and the expectation that the city has that we're able to do a good job with our cost recovery goals. Next page, please. What's next? We got dog scarves coming. We have been working with Kelly McKay, who's been doing a Monterey Sports Center logo refresh and working on essentially a brand refresh, similar to what she did with Shannon in the recreation department. And so working closely with Nat in our city manager's office, working closely with Lori Huelga in the city manager's office, trying to make sure that we have some consistency in terms of the color palettes, in terms of the font choices, in terms of how the logo is designed. We have a new logo coming. Now, you may not see it, but there's a change in that logo up there. If you look at the little pictogram that's just opposite of Monterey Sports Center, that is no longer a gymnastics pictogram. It is now a yoga pose pictogram. And that reflects the fact that we really have moved away from this original concept in the logo that it included gymnastics. We do weightlifting, we do swimming, we do the basketball and the sports, but we wanted to have a better up-to-date reflection of what it is that we offer the community. So that's where the logo ended up. And then the color palette has just really impressed a city manager's office, really impressed the staff. Kelly came up with some great designs, and she's also putting together a whole suite of templates that we'll be utilizing for flyers and posters and banners, and essentially have some really consistent branding to what the Sports Center look is. This will also be reflected in potential uniforms. This will be reflected in potential merchandise that we're able to offer the public. We've long had requests to offer shirts and sweatshirts and hats. We had to take the time to get this part of it right. But we do have dog scarves coming, and we think that those are going to be a really big hit. So a really great job by Kelly McKay and what she's been able to bring forward as the branding for the Sports Center going forward. Next slide. And we are back to Balta and the Christmas design.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, everybody. I want to open it up to the commissioners for questions and comments.
I just want to say that I'm a member of the Sports Center and it's fabulous. It's really cool. I go there every morning for whatever class there is, Pilates, yoga, whatever strength, the functional strength, and it's great. So thank you. Thank you so much.
And thanks to Lori today.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
Built that program from scratch.
Okay.
And it's a marvelous program, and all credit to Lori.
Yeah, good. Send her my warm wish.
I understand the sports center is just going gangbusters. I also got some kind of anecdotal information about how the weight training area is just so popular that people find it hard to get on the machines or get on the weight training. I don't know what can be done about that because you want as many people there as possible, but you know.
We're 6 weeks into the new year.
But I know.
Some of that starts to get a little bit easier. Yeah, the resolutions kind of find their way. I will say this, what Lori has done is, if you recall the old weight room was primarily, and Justin knows this because he worked for me in the old weight room. The old weight room was primarily stack weight machines. You would walk around, do a circuit, stick a pin in there. We've completely changed that weight room. It's very much functionally oriented right now. It's much more popular to a very diverse population. The older weight room tend to have limited popularity. And what we found is we were kind of at impact until Gold's Gym opened. And once Gold's Gym opened, a lot of the younger crowd went over there because they had the equipment they were looking for, and we didn't really have it. We do now. And so we're now getting a really broad spectrum of users that come over there. The other thing that we're seeing a lot of lately, a lot more city employees are coming in. And they're coming in before work. They're coming in during their lunch breaks. They're taking classes together. And we have seen a significant upswing in the amount of city employee use of the sports center. So we think the offering that we have in there has really been attractive, and it's really bringing people into the facility, and that creates the challenges. But if you also recall, Sid, back 10 years ago, 12 years ago, that concourse area, it was all tables and chairs. It was all tables and chairs and very little use. And it started when we started working with Prima Heart to do the post-cardiac rehab program, that we started introducing some specialized accessible equipment in there. And then over time, it built it up. And then what really spurred everything was the pandemic. We had to find ways to space equipment to allow more people to feel safe and comfortable going in. So that concourse started expanding. And then it far exceeded the electrical supply that we had available.
Right.
I remember Jason Bradley coming to me and say, I think we have a real problem with the electrical supply. I said, yeah, in the concourse area, it wasn't really designed for equipment. And he goes, no, with the building. There's so many things going on right now that this building wasn't designed for that kind of use. And so we brought in Shug Kirkman, the electrician for the city, and he helped us really upgrade electrical systems. We brought in quite a few of the public works folks, Steve Lampman and Joe Carvalho, helped really just address a lot of the HVAC issues that we were dealing in there. And that opened up that concourse, that opened up and changed the opportunities in the indoor cycling room, that opened up the weight room for a redesign, and we were able to redesign the current cardio fitness room. So we have significantly more equipment than we had just 10 years ago, but we also have significantly more users.
Mhm.
So you're seeing it all getting utilized.
So you think after 8 weeks or so, it'll calm down?
I think you'll see less people waiting for a bicycle in the indoor cycling classes, less people waiting for a spot in the kettlebell classes or the Zumba class at night that's really popular. And you'll see more availability of some of the equipment. And really, it's for people to kind of figure out, okay, I know if I go there at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, I ain't getting on anything. But if I go there at 6:30, then yeah, things start to open up for me. So you'll see some changes in terms of how people utilize it.
I would imagine with that kind of population increase in the sports center that you've got some serious challenges with maintenance and budget, of course. So how do you?
It's always a challenge.
Yeah.
I think the last few years we've asked for some more allocations to help us deal with that. And Shannon talked about really the issue that we're up against this year more than ever. Minimum wage is now $16.90, and we're starting people at 17. So we're paying a dime more than minimum wage. And when you look down the street, and Panda Express is paying $26 an hour, and In-N-Out is paying $26 an hour, and even Seaside Recreation is starting at $19 or $20 an hour, then you're saying, okay, we have a structural challenge here because we're not going to attract the best staff, and we're not going to retain the staff that we need. And so it's at the point where we can no longer be really creative about being able to attract and retain staff. We have to address it structurally. So we're going to be asking for some more allocations in the part-time salaries and benefits so that we can staff appropriately. It's not just a service level issue, it's a safety issue. Because if we can't staff appropriately, then we can't really offer some of those programs and services. So that's kind of where we're at with the staffing issue.
But we'll support you in that.
Okay.
I wanted to say real quickly, if I could, acknowledge Sarah and her staff over at the Schulte Center. I was able to do a Winter Wonderland luncheon over there with the Gateway Center and Hope Center. And Sarah and her staff were amazing. They invited everyone and was welcome. The tap bananas played and we made ornaments. And then we did the hokey pokey. I think everybody had a ball. It was wonderful to see how delighted everybody was. So shout out to her.
I've been in the park. I go to the parks a lot, and I think everything looks just really, really good. And anytime you bring anything up, Tice and his crew is really responsive. I just want to give a shout out to that, especially in Oak Newton, where I'm at all the time. I had something else I can't remember, but
There's still time.
oh, thank you. And is that former Monterey Recreation employee Kelly McKay that's helping doing stuff? Just want to throw that out there too. Yeah, I'll if I follow back up, I'll get to it. If no one else has anything, I guess we will move on to public comment. Nate?
Thank you, Chair. If you are in the council chambers and would like to make a public comment on this presentation, please identify yourself. If you are online and would like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand feature or *9 if you've dialed in by phone.
None in the chamber, Nate.
Thank you. We have one public comment online, last 3 of 705. Please go right ahead.
Yes, Lorna Moffett. That was a great presentation. It just sounds like, you guys are doing incredible work and, really helping a lot of people get active. So thank you for that. I'm curious, have we lost general public comment? Because that's one of the items that I wanted to speak on.
That will come up in just a few more items, then we'll have general public comment.
Okay. So the only thing that I took exception to is this invasive species that he mentioned in one of the parks, that they were clearing out, invasive species, and that can include the eucalyptus trees. And I just want to read to you David Mahoney. He was appointed by the United States Department of Army to be chief of fire prevention at the Oakland Army base. And in 1991, and this task force was formed to investigate the causes of the most destructive woodland-urban interface fires in the history of the United States, the Oakland-Berkeley fire of 1991. And he was to make recommendations to prevent the reoccurrence. And what he says in his report about invasive species, sound wildfire hazard mitigation does not make a distinction between whether a species was here before or after Columbus landed in the Caribbean. Sound effective wildfire hazard mitigation does not determine that a plant or species is a fire hazard because of where it originated. Such a determination is putting, and I'm having a hard time reading this last little bit, I'm almost done, ideological or economic consideration ahead of safety of firefighters and the public, and gives rise to propagandic statements which disregard to scars the public, but which have no basis in the science. So we have to really start looking at this rhetoric that was created originally by Monsanto to sell their herbicides. And that's very important for all of us, and to save the eucalyptus trees, because we need all the trees we can get right now. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. We have no other public comment on this item.
Thank you, Nate. With that, public comment is closed. That ends the presentation section. We'll be moving on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda, all the matters listed under the consent agenda are routine in nature and will be adopted by one motion unless a member of the commission requests discussion on anything on there. The only thing under our consent agenda today is the approval of the December 10th, 2025 minutes. Would anyone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right. Melissa, will you take a, oh,
Who second that? So first, you did first. Who second? Somebody has it. Okay, we're gonna do Commissioner Nazalgari. Thank you so much.
then do I have to do roll call? Who does the rules? All right. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Oh,
Kathy, can you hear us?
Aye, sorry. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
all right. Now that to the consent agenda, we'll move on to general public comment. Nate?
Thank you so much. Yes, this is the opportunity for general public comment. These are for items that are not on tonight's agenda. If you're in the council chamber and like to make a public comment, please identify yourself. If you are online, please use the raise hand feature or *9 if you've dialed in by phone.
None in the chamber, Nate.
Thank you. And we have one online. Please go ahead and make your public comment.
Yes, Lorna Moffett again. So I'd like to continue with Maloney's response to wildfire mitigation plan. Green living trees and cutting them down because they did not originate in California, when it has been shown over and over again that green trees, regardless of where they originated, are a bulwark against wildfire because the moisture they contribute to the ground fuels and because they act as windbreaks. From page 13 to 63 of the Fire Protection Handbook, as the amount of flammable materials in a given area increases, the amount of heat a fire produces also increases. The hottest fires, as well as those most difficult to contain, occur in areas containing the greatest quantities of fuel. The statement from the plan, heat output from mature eucalyptus trees is high when sufficient fuel has accumulated in the area, is misleading and disingenuous. It strongly suggests and erroneously implies that the heat from a eucalyptus forest fire is greater than the heat from a forest fire involving other species of trees. In fact, the heat generated by the forest fire is not dependent on the species of trees involved in the fire, but on the quantity of fuel in the area of the fire. And so we're being told time and time again by our politicians and fuel management programs that it's the trees and it's the eucalyptus and they're non-native and they've got to be cut down. And there's thousands in this area that are going to be cut down. And that means thousands of tons of CO2 that will not be absorbed, air that will not be produced, pollution that will not be sucked in by these wonderful trees. We have to stop this dialogue. It's very, very damaging to us. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much for your public comment. We have no other public comment, no other general public comment.
Sorry, with that, public comments are closed. And we'll move on to the public appearance, reports on actionable items, next section. The first, we have an item to recommend to the City Council that the Parks and Recreation related proposed neighborhood and community improvement program projects for fiscal year 25-26 are consistent with the Parks and Recreation Master Plan and provide direction to the staff to advise City Council. This item is exempt from CEQA per Article 19, Sections 15301, 15303, 15306, Classes 1, 3, 6, and not a project under CEQA Article 20, Section 15378, under General Rule Article 5, Section 15061. Shannon, I assume Reggie?
So Reggie's going to take over most of this. So just wanted to add that this is just to recommend council the projects that are Parks and Recreation related. And this is the new round of projects that we have to allocate the 6 million. And there's quite a few projects that are Parks and Rec related, but the one that the Parks and Rec Commission advocated the most for is Hilltop Park Phase 2. And so we'll go ahead and just hand that off to Reggie, and we're here for questions. I'm sure there's questions about.
Yes. All right. Thank you, commissioners, again. So yes, item 5 on this evening's agenda is to present the Parks and Rec related projects that'll be going to City Council in April. Before we go to City Council, these projects also go to the Planning Commission. All of the projects go to the Planning Commission, I believe 2 weeks from yesterday. So that's on their agenda as well. So just a quick background on this past cycle. We got 73 applications in total. We went as part of the review process. 19 of those projects were either withdrawn, consolidated, or not found to be valid, which left 54 projects on voting night, which was December 17th, if my memory is correct on that one. So of those, and what you'll see is there were a lot of high price projects this year, way more than what's been, I would say, common. On average, an NCIP project is somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000 average project. In the past, this year, we're like 500,000. So we only will be recommending 19 projects to City Council for approval this year versus in past years 30 to 40. So we're about half. And Nate, can you go to the next slide, please? So just a breakdown on the projects by neighborhood. Again, there's 16 total neighborhoods, 15 voting seats on the NCIP committee. We had quite a few neighborhoods that did not submit any projects this year. But then I think our traditional neighborhoods that tend to submit a lot of projects, they held true again this year. 6 in Casanova Oak Knoll, 4 from Del Monte Beach, 12 from the downtown area. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see there was 10 from New Monterey. And then the multi-neighborhood includes things like the recreation trail, just because it passes through multiple neighborhoods. And then the like fire department, police station, those types of projects. Okay, next one, please. So of the projects that we're recommending to go to City Council will be the another year for community-wide fuel reduction, Hilltop Park Center renovation phase 2, project at Casanova Oak Knoll Park, replace a gate and look at improving restroom lighting. Del Monte Beach, a project to install some railing at the boardwalk stairs. And then the project that's in yellow is what we call a cutoff project. So the way the NCIP program works is that we can recommend projects up to the funding available for that year, with the option for 4 additional projects if the previous projects are finished, say under budget with available funding. We can then go to those cutoff projects. And some recreation trail work along Lighthouse Curve would be one of those cutoff projects. So as Shannon said, the Parks and Rec Commission back in early 2025 had identified 5 projects to recommend and get support to the NCIP committee. Of those 5, the one that did make the cut was the Hilltop Park Center facility improvements, El Estero Park Center, El Estero large barbecue area improvements, the Schulte Park Center facility improvements, and mural upgrade at Hilltop Park Center. Those other 4 projects did not make the cut this year. So just for your information. Okay, Nate, can you go to the next slide, please? So again, this is the neighborhoods, and is there another slide there, Nate? Or, yes, okay, so just a little bit more detail. So we're recommending $1.25 million this time around for the fuel and forest management. And next slide, please. We're going to, again, as we had talked about, $1 million for Hilltop Park Center. Next slide, please. $2,000 for this gate at the at Casanova Oak Knoll Park Center. And just keep in mind that it's kind of these estimates were kind of working estimates, and they can be adjusted as necessary once we get into design and say purchasing of equipment and that sort of thing. Next slide, please. And here's the location for the improved railing along the stairs that go down from Surf and Tide Avenue down to the beach. So this will be a significant project. And as we were talking about before, this is one that would require Coastal Commission input, permitting. Yeah, we'll earn our money on this one. Next one, please. And then here, just if you haven't been along the recreation trail lately, there's some of the wood retaining wall is in need of some replacement and repair. So personally, I'm hoping that we can make that happen. We'll see. And I believe that is the last slide, right? Yeah. So I'm available for any questions you might have.
Reggie, how many people work in your department?
Total?
Yes. Am I looking at them?
I think NCIP program, yeah, it's me. I get help from an administrative assistant, and then others chip in where they can. I think we're less than 20 in public works engineering for sure.
So when a project gets approved from NCIP and goes on to the city council and gets approved there, and then you decide you have to put it out for bid for costs involved. What is the timeline of that process of once it's been approved by the city council to get bids on getting it approved, getting it funded? And approved?
It's way more complicated than that. So just as an example, in January, unrelated to parks, we had a project that was originally proposed in 2011 that we just completed. So, I mean, it's frustrating for everyone. The number one question I get is, why isn't my project done? There's just a million different things that go into completing a project. So it's impossible to say. So I don't know if you noticed on those slides, the NCIP committee had asked me to give some kind of what they called a complexity rating. So I had rated some projects low, medium, and high, kind of just to give people a feel for kind of, again, the complexity, but what goes into that? Things like permitting. So like the Del Monte Beach project, if it needs Coastal Commission approval, that would make it a high complexity project. Things like the fence, the gate fence at Casanova Oak Knoll, I would say is a fairly simple project, right? We can purchase a piece of equipment out of a catalog, and we have, craft workers that can install that without a permit. So it all really just depends. I mean, so if we utilize what we call on-call contracts at times. So we have like maintenance contracts or, so if it's something that we can do off of an on-call contract, we can do that way. But So take, for example, the basketball court at Via Paraiso and Veterans Park. That was designed in-house. We had a couple summer interns that worked on the design, and then we have to work on the request for proposal documents, and it has to route through various departments of the city, including finance and city attorney, and then it goes out to bid. I mean, there's just so many steps in the process, and unfortunately, if something gets stuck along the way, then those projects tend to sit, and they just, unfortunately, to be honest, don't get done, right? So if we're working on a project, there's a hitch along for who knows what reason. There could be and then you'll just drop that and move on, right? Because right now I have there's 80 projects more or less total in the portfolio. 10 of those roughly are in closeout phase, what I'd call them. So there's 70 active or somewhere around there. And if a project gets stuck, right, I have 69 other projects to move on to. I could spend a bunch of time working on that one, or I can try and get 5 other ones done. So a lot of times I just move on.
I think we're all kind of like that. You know, we take the path of not the least resistance, but we want to make progress. And so we go down that path. And the reason I was asking this is because of the amount of money that has been allocated from NCIP to projects that have not been utilized. It's kind of staggering. I know it was very tempting for the previous city manager to come in and say, well, you know, if you're not going to use it, we'll take it. And I'm concerned about that still being a possibility with the new city manager. So that was the purpose for asking about that process.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do those figures account for any permitting costs, like for like the coastal commission, or do you do everything in house, or do you need like environmental consultants for that?
The answer is it depends. But generally, yeah, the cost does include permitting. So we do the majority, I would say, in-house. So between myself and the staff in the planning department, we complete the applications. We do get outside support for, archaeological, if that's necessary, that sort of a thing. But yeah, we typically do the majority in-house.
So when I say priority, what exactly do we have in mind?
Pardon the interruption, but if you could please turn on your microphone.
Didn't I turn? Sorry. Okay, so how exactly do we select which project goes first, second, third, fourth? Because in my previous jobs, projects regarding safety of the public or safety of our community was number one. The other projects that were about beautifying stuff were not as important. So how do we do it here?
Yes. So the short answer is there's no formal prioritization. There's no key or as far as I know, it does not exist. So what you're asking for, the short answer, it doesn't exist. What I personally do is what I had described, in that I'll go through the projects, we identify them in different criteria, and like I said, location, availability of contracting options, funding sources, if we have enough money in an account. What I would also say is, in my time here, I think that there's room for dispute and disagreement about what is a safety project. I mean, I've seen someone say, oh, this is an absolute must, we have to do it. And then you'll have someone else who disagrees. So I mean, I think that this is something that has been a long-term issue with the NCIP program. And it is not something that has yet been solved. I mean, it goes along with the backlog of projects. I mean, we've had projects that are on the books for, I mean, a long, long time. I mean, I'm looking at stuff that originally was proposed in 2010, 2008, 2006. I mean, it goes way back. I mean, I could tell you a project that I know that's on the books from 2000. Some people would tell you that's a safety project. Others would say it's not necessary, right? It hasn't been done in 26 years, so it doesn't need to happen. So, I mean, it's in an ideal world, I think the goal for the NCIP program would be that, so for example, there's 19 projects that are coming up would be done next year this time, right? You would finish all the projects in a year. As far as I know, in 40 years, that hasn't happened.
Okay, we'll work on it. Thank you.
I do want to thank you for the presentations and thank you for the real questions that can be difficult. It feels like sometimes we're kicking the can or in circles, not just down the road, but bringing up questions about salary. Bill, thank you for doing that. Asking the questions about how we do this process. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing it in the public space that is so necessary, because I think we're all sitting in this room trying to come up with solutions to make the situation better. And unfortunately, it takes a village, and we're all sitting here trying to do that. So continue to do what you guys are doing. Thank you.
Anything else from the commission? At this point, Nate, can you open up to public comment?
Yes, thank you. If you would like to make a public comment on this item and you're in the council chambers, please identify yourself. If you are online and would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand or press *9.
We have one in the chamber, Nate.
Perfect. We have no public comment online, so we'll go to our one public comment in the council chambers.
Hi, my name's Shelly Schmidt. I'm the NCIP representative for Casanova Oak Knoll. So I might be able to give you some insight on how the committee voted for the projects to be presented to council in this upcoming cycle. First, I'm going to address the Casanova Oak Knoll projects. We had, I think, 6 projects, and most of them were centered around the park. And out of those 6, only the one for the safety gates made it to you and hopefully to council. And that was because that one is a public safety project. The others were deemed, there was a trash can, similar to the ones that are at Laguna Grande Park proposal. There was a dog fountain, resurfacing of the handball, basketball courts. But the gate project was submitted by a mother in a mother of young children in our neighborhood. There was a gate there before, and it broke. I did receive information that it broke shortly after it was installed. And so there's been no gate there since. It's not, a lot of people bring dogs to our park, and the dogs will run into the playground area. That gate is for the children's playground. And so it'll run in there, knock the kids down, scare the kids. Also, it's at the corner of an intersection that's fairly busy, and kids have run out towards the street. So that one, I think, made it because it is a public safety issue. Also, the bathroom lighting is kind of dark, and the same mother kind of felt it was a little creepy going in there because it's dim lighting. NCIP did try to focus this one, given the budget deficit issues that the city is facing, on really focusing on public safety issues. And so that's why some of the parks projects are later or are not as highly ranked, is because of that. They were really trying to focus more on safety. That was a question and a concern that repeatedly came up. Is this a public safety issue? And so some of the projects are like crosswalks and stuff. They got forwarded. Street lighting got forwarded. got higher marks in our voting night. So we did try to focus more on the public safety issues. And I think that's why that out of the 6 projects concerning our park, that one was the only one who went forward. So hopefully you support that project to go to council because it is needed in our area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your public comment. We have no other public comment on this item.
Thank you, Nate. Just one last chance to return to the commission. I want to touch on that. That is a good point. My son is a runner, and that park's right up the hill from our daycare, so we go there after daycare, and he's bolted a few times. So I've thought
Your thoughts?
yeah. Yeah. No, sorry. He'll be 4 in April. He's a runner, not a sprinter. So I saw where the gates used to be. So it's a very welcome addition to the park. There's nothing else. Do we want to make a call? There's a call for a vote to recommend these to the council?
I move that we recommend the highlighted projects to the city council.
Second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Thank you, Kathy.
All right, with that ends the public appearance section. Move on to staff comments. Nicole?
Thank you. So I just wanted to comment on the presentations from our leadership team. It was really great to hear about having such a engaged and connected community because of many of the things that our leadership team was able to highlight, that our Parks and Recreation staff are really passionate about providing to the community. So really great to hear all of those things tonight. Also, the budget season was mentioned by a couple of my colleagues, and that was another thing that started basically on day one of my arrival here. So we've all been at the table really working through the details on this fiscal year's budget. Appreciate the team approach, and just also want to introduce Mark Ackerman, who's out in the audience tonight. He is a management analyst for the city who's going to be working with our team on a part-time capacity. And so he'll be assisting us with budgeting, but also research and making sure that we are able to continue to provide up-to-date information and data to this board as well as others, so we can keep on top of all of that. So appreciate having you here tonight, Mark, and thank you to the whole team for the presentations. I really enjoyed them.
Thank you. Shannon?
So just would like to welcome Nicole again. Thank you. It's great to have you here and have the support. We can arrange for everyone on Parks and Rec to have a chance to stop by El Estero and see the new play equipment at some point when it's all done. I have not seen it. I've gotten pictures. I've not seen it in person, and I can't wait. So I'm very excited about that. I'd also like to acknowledge Mike Lewis, who is a management analyst in Public Works. And with the shutdown, he helped us move a lot of these projects along. So we got approval from City Council, but then he's helped us with the contracting and the permitting. And so in conjunction with Reggie, we got approval we got the RFP sent out for the Via Paraiso and Veterans basketball courts. And we got this in contract and equipment ordered. Solicito Lights, he's assisting us still. The El Estero shade structure, he's still helping us with those as well. So even though he's gone back to his regular duties, he's still trying to close out some of those things that he started. So we greatly appreciate that because we just don't have the capacity. And then one thing that we were able to do that also sped up this process is we were able to utilize piggybacking. So if anyone's familiar with piggybacking, it's someone has already done the heavy work of an RFP. Usually there's a national organization or something like that who have gone through. And so we're able to get that competitively bid price and cost And that kind of smooths things through a little bit faster with our finance department for contract approval. So it's very helpful. I'd like to thank Reggie as well. He's a huge help. He's got a big lift, and that's really helped us a lot. We are offering an Alzheimer's Association series. So we'll get that information out to you. It's going to be all of our community centers. Sarah Reed helped coordinate that for us. We will be having a March meeting. There's a few things on the agenda. So please mark March 11th, Wednesday, 5:30. And then otherwise, I just want to thank you all for everything and all of your support, and the recreation team, Melissa, Philip, Nate, who's our voice in the sky, Rachel, Sarah, Misty, Melissa, Brent. I said Melissa twice. Chris, we're just going full speed ahead. Things are so busy. We have not had a downtime. Usually we think summer, as soon as summer's over, we can breathe a little bit. It has not been the case. So we are, I feel like it's summer already. It'll be the 4th of July before we know it. I'm actually working on booking all of those bands and everything. So lots going on, and yeah, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support. Thank you for being able to share with the community the work that we do on behalf of the community. And thank you for the opportunity to be able to share our team success with you. Thank you.
It's great to have a director at the end of this table. So again, welcome, Nicole. Hiring a former intern. Last time I talked to you all, we were talking about our intern that was helping so much at the cemetery and updating so many records and everything. So luckily we're getting to hire him part-time for a few more months, continue the great momentum that's up there. So hopefully we'll get some even, something to really report at the end, because they're making so much progress right now. So that's really helpful for us. The Capitol site, the old Capitol site, the Cypress Fire District recently put in fire gates, which is really cool. They and then those gates are going to lead to these fire roads that have that are originally in there. So we're going to have some great access roads, which will also be, kind of the paths that people will be able to walk later on when we hopefully get to open it to the public. But still, that is going to be really fantastic for our emergency service folks to be able to get in there really easily if anything should happen. And then lastly, as was already mentioned, cutting day, have it on your calendar. A little over a month from now, we're reaching out to everybody. I anticipate a much bigger horticulture fair part. We're actually talking about kind of overflow to other areas of the Friendly Plaza area. So because we're getting people who want to be part of it, right? The other day we got the local Begonia Society reached out to us, which, the Orchid Society, all these groups. So I anticipate a very full horticulture fair portion of our cutting day event. So we hope to see you there. What's that? The whole launch for just, well, okay. It's there if we need it. Okay. Appreciate Shannon. But yeah, no, that's all I got. But good seeing you all. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. Now it's time for move on to the commissioner comments. Start over here, Ben.
I just want to say, as always, thank you so much for the hard work you all and your teams do, and these amazing programs and exciting projects that you all do for our community. It just blows my mind every time, and super thankful.
Sorry. Welcome, Nicole, again. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you, really. So thank you.
Sid?
I think probably we should all take advantage of having a moment with Nicole before we no longer are able to have a moment with Nicole, because she's drinking from a fire hose at this point. So I would encourage all of us to make that contact, and thank you so much for taking on this pretty impressive job. So really looking forward to working with you. And I am so impressed with the innovations that our people come up with at the sports center, the recreation department, innovations that you do just to take care of all the parks in the city. So it stuns me every time how I don't know who's coming up with these ideas, but I am deeply impressed with the creation that you've come up with. And thank you so much for what you do for the city of Monterey.
Christian.
Yeah, again, thank you, Nicole. Welcome, Nicole. It is nice to see a captain of the ship, but this ship was not aimlessly wandering. You have an awesome team to sail it with you. So it'll be awesome to see that collaborative and continue to speak out, even with the captain. Bring your voices to the table and let us know, not just to be like, we've done this, it's a great thing, but when you have concerns or, boundaries that you need help crossing, let us know. We need to hear that. We need to hear those voices. So thank you for doing that. I'm going to be really looking at this Monterey County, the group that you mentioned that you went to, the Monterey County Works. I'm really interested in learning more about that, but good job. Great. Thank you.
Amy?
Welcome, Nicole. And also just thank you for everything you do. I have not been more proud to be a citizen of Monterey, and I've lived here all my life. So you guys are doing an awesome job. And I love to brag to all my friends who don't live here about what a wonderful city we have.
Kathy, you still with us?
Yes, I am. Yes, I wanted to also welcome Nicole. You landed in a great place. I don't think you could have asked for a better staff or a more beautiful location. I also want to just take one quick second to thank Ties. I live next to the Tired Little Park, and it is just coming back beautifully. It's got trees, and what a difference his staff has made there, and also seen a lot of the work of the removal of the invasive plants and trees in Laguna Grande. And that was a huge project. I'm not sure how many people Ties had out here with him, but a lot of trucks and a lot of action going on. So thank you for that. It's always more comfortable knowing that a lot of those dead trees and weeds have been picked up. So thank you so much, guys.
I just want to say thanks again for everything. I'm really excited to work and meet the new director. I'm excited that we're back to full capacity. Just hearing all the stories of COVID and before that, eventually get back to what we need, what the staffing we need, but it's good to slowly get back, at least filling the vacancies. And Cuttings days, I wait. It's with bated breath. It's all around my office. At least 5 people go, and we're just it's like a holiday. I'm very excited. Oh yeah, Black Friday, Christmas, my birthday. It's all rolled into one. And just an announcement to follow up. If you're interested from our last meeting with the Lower Presidio Park, the meeting is scheduled March 1st, I believe. I don't want to misspeak, but Brian sent the email out that Sunday, March 1st will be the meeting at Lower Presidio Park about the historic monument stuff. There'll be a walking tour and a presentation, and then a walking tour and then a presentation. And that's all I have. I guess that closes the next meeting will be March 11th, as Shannon mentioned. And without anything else, I will call this to adjournment.